Hi, my name's Dave Neeshaw. Welcome to today's session on why we all deserve to be happy. Now, it seems a really obvious topic that we deserve to be happy, and yet if that was the case, more of us would be happy. And there are techniques that we can use to stop being unhappy, to be indifferent, to be detached, and engage with what we need. So what does it really mean to be happy? There's lots and lots of books, and for about 15 years there's been this real cult of happiness. And happiness is part of the step to where you really deserve to be, which is fulfilled. So happiness is where we're not struggling with stuff. Or we're able to look back and say, I'm really proud of what I've achieved, and so I'm not struggling anymore because I've crossed that off my list. So the starting point for happiness is actually knowing where you're trying to get to. So sitting on your sofa, sitting out, looking at the world and saying, world isn't working for me. Well, money's not going to solve it. Money's a vehicle to doing stuff. Relationships aren't going to solve it unless it's the right relationship. So what we want to know, first of all, if we want to be happy, is where we're trying to get to. And if you've been in an environment where nobody's encouraged you to be you, nobody's explained that it's okay to have your own opinions, nobody's encouraged you to have your own opinions, you might be sat right now going, okay, I don't know what it is that would make me happy. And there's a really simple solution to that. If you want to be happy, you need to know who you are in order to plan where you want to get to. And to figure out who you are, do a values exercise. And values is just one way of saying what's important to me. And the exercise just makes you think, what sort of things are really important to you? And for some people, it might be something like world peace. Most people, it isn't. For some people, it might be power. Most people, it isn't. Some people, it might be fame. For most people, it isn't. And that exercise, it will just give you a load of different words, and you spot the word and go, actually, that kind of speaks to me, that word. Those ones don't. And what you end up with is maybe 8, 10, maybe even 15 key words that say, right, I want to have a life that allows me to have these elements in them. And that then tells you, right, that is a composite of my happiness. That bunch of things are, as long as I'm doing that, it will make me happier. And then as you look at that, you'll be able to recognize that actually there are ways in my life I can do this today. I can, maybe one of them for me is knowledge. So I can learn about stuff. I can learn about my job. I can learn about technology. I can learn about places I want to visit on holiday. And I need to be mindful that other people are not interested. If I want to be happy, I need to surround myself by people who encourage me to be that person and start to edit out those people who discourage me. So to be happy, first of all, you need to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you then have to give yourself permission to have the skills and give yourself permission to start saying, the people who encourage me to be the best version of me, I'm going to bring closer. And the people who discourage me, why are you doing that? It's boring. Wouldn't you rather be doing what I want to do? Oh, come on, do what I want to do. And start to spend less time with them. And that's usually straightforward if you join a society, if you join a club, if you move house, but actually there are people in your world who it's very hard to step away from. It might be your family, it might be your neighbours. And at that point, you just spend less time with them and more time with the other people. And eventually, you get the balance right. So there are some people who spend very little time with their family, and it's as much as they can deal with. And that is part of keeping them happy. So first of all, we need to know who we are. Then we need to give ourselves permission. Now, giving ourselves permission to step away from people is learning to manage guilt properly. Because part of the reason we don't step away from people is We're not assertive. We don't say no. We don't have clear boundaries. But once we know what we're trying to do, it tells us what our boundaries are. So that leaves us with the question, well, why am I not saying no to people? And that's to do with feeling guilty, feeling like you're responsible for others at a cost of being responsible to yourself. And so if you want to be happy, the first rule that you need to carry with you is I am responsible for me. And as you carry that forwards, you then have to create space to work out what I want. And that is a very simple technique called buying time. So rule 1, I need to be responsible for me. I know what I want and I am responsible for me and not responsible for managing the feelings of others. And in order to say, I do want to do something or I don't want to do something, we buy time. Give me 2 minutes, let me think about it. We buy time. Let me check my diary. We buy time. I haven't even considered that option. And then we step away and we think, what's right for us? What's right for us? And at that point we say, actually, this is what I would prefer to do. Or that is an option that you've suggested that sounds really good. So we go with things that are right for us. We step away from things that aren't. And as we do that more and more, we will notice that we get more joy in our life. And as we get more joy and more pleasure, we get more energy, more animation towards go and do even more things that are a little more challenging, that are a little more demanding, but they're right for us. So our happiness at times comes from stepping into a challenging situation that sits with our values. So I've suddenly decided knowledge is my value amongst those other ones, and I'm ready to take on more knowledge in my life. I know I'm going to learn a language. And all the way through learning a language, I find it challenging and at times frustrating because it's so hard to break the ice of that idea. I can't quite get it. And all of a sudden it dissolves, it melts, and you've got it. And at that point, you've moved forwards and you feel amazing. You feel jubilant. You feel happy. And then you notice another aspect of your values is not being serviced. So one of your values might be solitude. I need to have time where I can stop and reflect. And while I'm learning, I'm not reflecting. And while I'm earning, I'm not reflecting. So I'll have a little bit of time. I know I'm going to take myself off. I'm going to have a nice long walk and just process. And when you do that, you recognize that you're even more in balance. So all those values all need to be nurtured and supported a step at a time on your terms, because you are responsible for you. And as you do that, you become happier. As you do that, you become more complete. As you do that, that happiness that you've been seeking becomes automatic. It's not something that you create. It's something that, as you do the right thing for you, lives and breathes around you. And so as we move forwards and we do more and we challenge ourselves more, we then feel even happier. And then from that, we start to focus on our broader needs. And we all have some broad needs, and they need to be met in different ways. So one of our needs is to feel challenged, and we always need a challenge in our life. Another one is a hobby. Another one is to learn and grow. Another need is physical need, so to exercise, to walk, to get our bodies moving. And as we neglect these things, we become less happy. And as we engage with these things, we become more and more fulfilled. That's a step beyond happiness, and happiness is a step beyond contentment, and contentment is better than being busy. And so as you move forwards, if you're bored today, if you're disenchanted today, if you're just a bit numb to your world today, you do deserve to be happy. And there is a way to do it. It's not magic. It's not about winning the lottery. It's not about if only my life was like that person's. It's about you taking the small steps that are the right steps that start with step number 1. I am responsible for me. And then moving forwards on your terms, at your pace, constantly tweaking, changing, but also heading in the direction for you. And there's always, always something you can do today to make you a little bit more happy for tomorrow. So enjoy processing that. Enjoy knowing that you can be, and as you come on board and you learn more from me, you can be happier each and every day and take control of your life on your terms. My name's Dave Neeshaw. Thank you for listening to Better Minds Work today. There's going to be more Better Minds Live coming up, so keep an eye out for it and keep growing at the pace that's right for you. Thank you.